Hello and welcome back to UAE TV. Please like and subscribe to channel to get further videos directly in your inbox.
The Dassault Rafale, French pronunciation, ʁafal, literally meaning gust of wind, 9, and burst of fire in a more military sense 10, is a French twin-engine, canard delta-wing, multirole fighter aircraft designed and built by Dassault Aviation. Equipped with a wide range of weapons, the Rafale is intended to perform air supremacy, interdiction, aerial reconnaissance, ground support, in-depth strike, anti-ship strike and nuclear deterrence missions. The Rafale is referred to as an omnirole aircraft by Dassault. The Rafale was one of the 6 aircraft competing in the Indian MRCA competition for 126 multirole fighters. Originally, the Mirage 2000 had been considered for the competition, but Dassault withdrew it in favour of the Rafale. 158. In February 2011, French Rafales flew demonstrations in India, including air-to-air combat against Su-30 MKs. 159. In April 2011, the Indian Air Force, IAF, shortlisted the Rafale and Eurofighter Typhoon for the $10.4 billion contract. 160. On the 31st of January 2012, the IAF announced the Rafale as the preferred bidder. 161-162. It was proposed that 18 Rafales would be supplied to the IAF by 2015 in flyaway condition, while the remaining 108 would be manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL, in India under transfer of technology agreements. 163-164, the contract for 126 Rafales, services, and parts may have been worth up to $20 billion. 165-166. In the late 1970s, the French Air Force and French Navy were seeking to replace and consolidate their current fleets of aircraft. In order to reduce development costs and boost prospective sales, France entered into an arrangement with UK, Germany, Italy and Spain to produce an agile multi-purpose fighter, the Eurofighter Typhoon. Subsequent disagreements over work share and differing requirements led to France's pursuit of its own development program. Dassault built a technology demonstrator which first flew in July 1986 as part of an 8-year flight test program, paving the way for the go-ahead of the project. The Rafale is distinct from other European fighters of its era in that it is almost entirely built by one country, involving most of France's major defense contractors, such as Dassault, Thales, and Safran. Many of the aircraft's avionics and features, such as direct voice input, the RBE-2AA active electronically scanned array, AESA, radar and the optronic sector frontal infrared search and track, IRST, sensor, were domestically developed and produced for the Rafale program. Originally scheduled to enter service in 1996, the Rafale suffered significant delays due to post-Cold War budget cuts and changes in priorities. The aircraft is available in 3 main variants: Rafale C single-seat land-based version, Rafale B twin-seat land-based version, and Rafale M single-seat carrier-based version. Introduced in 2001, the Rafale is being produced for both the French Air Force and for carrier-based operations in the French Navy. The Rafale has been marketed for export to several countries, and was selected for purchase by the Indian Air Force, the Egyptian Air Force, and the Qatar Air Force. The Rafale has been used in combat over Afghanistan, Libya, Mali, Iraq, and Syria. Design phase and prototype. In France, the government proceeded with its own program. The French Ministry of Defense required an aircraft capable of air-to-air and air-to-ground, all-day and adverse weather operations. Unlike other contemporary European fighter projects that required some level of international collaboration and cost-sharing, France was the sole developer of the Rafale's airframe, avionics, propulsion system and armament, and as such the aircraft was to replace a multitude of aircraft in the French armed forces. The Rafale would perform roles previously filled by an assortment of specialized platforms, including the Jaguar, Mirage F1C/CT, Mirage 2000C/5/N in the Armada layer, and the F-8P Crusader, E-tendered IVP/M and Super E-tendered in the air and avail. 1120. During October to December 1978, prior to France's joining of the ESA, Dassault received contracts for the development of Project ACT-92, Avion de Combat Tactique, meaning Tactical Combat Airplane. The following year, the National Office for Aviation Studies and Research began studying the possible configurations of the new fighter under the codename Rapace, meaning bird of prey. By March 1980, the number of configurations had been narrowed down to 4, 2 of which had a combination of canards, delta wings and a single vertical tail fin. 13. In October 1982, the French Ministry of Defense announced that Dassault would build a technology demonstrator named Avion de Combat Experimental Combat Airplane, ACX. France wanted to collaborate with West Germany and the UK on the project, but was prepared to build the ACX by itself. In 1984, the government decided to proceed with a combat variant of the ACX due to the conflicting technical criteria of the respective FIFA participant nations. 1321. The resultant Rafale technology demonstrator was a large delta-winged fighter, with all moving canards, embodying fly-by-wire, FBW, flight control system. 11. Construction of the demonstrator commenced in March 1984, even before a contract was signed with the DGA, France's defense procurement agency. 13. The technology demonstrator was rolled out in December 1985 in St. Cloud, and took its maiden flight on the 4th of July 1986 from Istres-les-Tubes Air Base in southern France. 11. During the 1-hour flight, the project's chief test pilot Guy Momaro took the aircraft to an altitude of 11,000 meters, 36,000 feet, and a speed of Mach 1.3. The 9.5-ton, 21,000 pounds, demonstrator stopped in 300 meters, 980 feet, upon landing. 22. Throughout the flight test program, the Rafale performed numerous day and night takeoffs and landings aboard the carriers Clemenceau and Foch to investigate the pilot's field of view during carrier operations. It reached a speed of Mach 2, 2,450 km per hour, 1,522 miles per hour, 1,322.9 knots, and a height of 13,000 meters, 42,000 feet. 23. The demonstrator was initially powered by General Electric F400 and 4 GE400 afterburning turbofans from the F/A-18 Hornet, instead of the Snecmar M88, to reduce the risk that often comes with a first flight, and since the M88 was not considered sufficiently mature for the initial trials program. 1124, it was not until May 1990 when the M88 replaced the port F404 in the demonstrator to enable the aircraft to reach Mach 1.4 and demonstrate supercruise, or sustained supersonic flight without use of afterburners. After 865 flights with 4 pilots, Rafale was retired in January 1994. 1123-25. At the time of the Rafale's maiden flight, France entered unsuccessful talks with Belgium, Denmark, the Netherlands and Norway about a possible collaboration on the Rafale as a multinational project. At the time, Belgium was reportedly interested in the Rafale B. In June 1987, Prime Minister Jacques Chirac declared that the country would proceed with the $30 billion project. Subsequently, on the 21st of April 1988, the French government awarded Dassault a contract for 4 Rafale prototypes, 1 Rafale C, 2 Rafale Ms and 1 Rafale B. The first out of an expected 330 Rafales was scheduled to enter service in 1996. 26, 27, 28, 29, however, the fall of the Berlin Wall, which signaled the end of the Cold War, as well as the need to reduce the national deficit, compelled the French government to drastically reduce its defense budget. The 1994 budget for the Rafale program was cut by $340 million. 3031, this reduced the size of the Rafale orders, which Dassault and other companies involved claimed impeded production management and led to higher costs, and delayed the entry of the aircraft into service. The French Air Force was reorganized, The Mirage 5F was completely phased out and a total of 55 Mirage F1CS were upgraded to a tactical fighter configuration, redesignated as Mirage F1. The budget cuts prolonged the Rafales development considerably. 1132-33. During the Rafale flight test program, the French government in 1989 looked at the F-A-18 Hornet as a potential replacement for the rapidly aging F-8 Crusader, which had been serving since the 1950s. The French Navy entered purchase of second-hand F-A-18s with Australia, Canada and the US, after the decision was made not to upgrade the Crusaders. The US Navy agreed to supply 2 F-A-18s to the French Navy for interoperability testing aboard the French aircraft carrier Foch. The French government did not proceed with a purchase of the twin-engine fighter. 34-35.
Thanks for watching Universal Information and Entertainment TV. Please like and subscribe our channel for more updated videos, news, information and entertainment. See you in next video. Stay tuned.